So there's a new t-shirt. Looks good. I actually made this t-shirt. This isn't important to the video, it's not the point. Hi, Chatty Casual here. I'm going to do a video today recommending podcasts that I listen to. It's a video that I've had on my to-do list since I basically started this little project of mine. My job means I spend quite a lot of time working by myself without really needing to interact with other people, so I can listen quite happily to a podcast for a couple of hours sometimes and not be interrupted whilst I work, which is really nice for me because it keeps my hand in the proverbial magic pie. I get to enjoy listening to concepts, cards, new sets, all kinds of stuff, and I wanted to cover all of that with what podcasts I typically listen to. There's 7 different channels that I typically listen to. One I most recently picked up, and I'm really glad that I did, although I am way behind. This one is called the Vorthos Cast. They have a podcast that delivers succinct 1 hour-ish long episodes, mainly covering the story of Magic the Gathering historically. Started about 3 or 4 years ago with the last Dominaria set. They cover really old history of the story in the game. I'm really into the story, as it were, because there are archetypes of Magic players, and I would consider myself a Vorthos or player of Magic. The story is integral and really important to me. And sometimes they will cover parts or aspects of the story that I had missed, I had not considered or overlooked, or they, as the early episodes do, they cover old history of the game, characters and analyses of what they are trying to achieve, what happened in the story, and how that's included in the cards and expressed through the cards as in the game. Really, really good listening to them. They're almost always hour-long episodes, and I download 3 or 4 so that I've got a nice amount to listen to over the course of the day. Vorthos Cast, check them out if you're into the story. Or if you want to learn about the story or the history of the game, they're brilliant for that as well, because they go back right to the very beginning, to the origins of the game. Next we have, in a completely different direction, the EDH Recast. These guys, originally from the website EDH Rec. The EDH Rec website covers and is basically the best resource for analysing deck cards, commanders, how popular they are, what people use and play with them. Their website covers the commander format, basically exclusively. They probably do other things, but I'm mainly a commander player, so I only really care about that. And the EDH Recast covers commander almost exclusively. They discuss new sets, the newest cards, and ways to play those cards, and ways to interact with the new cards and new deck ideas, new concepts. But they also cover other aspects of the game as well. Usually they'll discuss like what decks to bring to events, or how players approach certain play styles, or certain pods, as they're called. Yeah, they have a really good take and analysis. They also do something called Challenge the Stats on their episodes, which is where people will have included cards in decks that they have, and they might have not considered alternatives, or they might have missed how that interaction works. Cards that at a glance you think will work, but actually they don't, and they're counterintuitive to what you're trying to achieve with your commander or your deck's overall play style. Casual Magic. The presenter, his name is Shivam Bhatt. Hope I say that right, Shivam. Not that you'll ever see this. He interviews personalities from within the Magic IP, as well as within the company Wizards of the Coast. Also personalities that do their own content. I don't think I'm ever going to be one of these people, but it would be so cool if I was. He is a casual player. He likes to Vorthos play, and he likes to play in a casual, non-competitive manner, because he likes how you can express or tell a story whilst playing the game through the cards you play and the way they interact on the board. He's a very softly spoken man. Some people might be able to fall asleep listening to him. But he sounds like a really nice guy, And the people that he interviews, as far as I can tell, a really positive interaction, a really positive time with him. And his podcast is now 100 and something episodes in. Really fun, really good listening to him, because sometimes he'll just be chatting at length to people. It's a very informal sort of podcast as well. It's not like he's interviewing them for a job and he's talking very like, have you considered how this card might impact this format? It doesn't do that. He's like, I'm so glad you're here. Like, I loved this deck when I saw you play it on this live stream or whatever. Like, he's such a nice, open and honest sounding guy. And the people that he interviews are all important personalities or people who design the cards and sets themselves. So he's got a good reach. Yeah, I really like his content. I listen to quite a lot of his episodes, because especially when he interviews people like the professor from Tolarian Community College, it was like listening to two friends discuss something that they're passionate about, that I'm also passionate about. Even though I wasn't there, I felt like I was included somehow. Really weird. But yeah, really good podcast. Casual Magic. Next, the Command Zone. It's quite a powerful, punchy name, don't you think? The Command Zone. The Command Zone is where your commander sits when you're playing Commander. Most of the time it will be in the zone that is called the Command Zone, and that's probably where they got their name from. Otherwise it'd be a very unusual coincidence. The Command Zone covers deck lists and products as they're released. They also talk about what cards may be the best in new sets as well. It's quite a professional sort of show. I mean, all of these podcasts, they're all about fandom. They're like the fandom of Magic. So they're not like really formal or really strict. Their content comes across as well budgeted and structured in such a way that it's not simply a friendly chat. It's also like a productive chat. I do listen to a lot of their shows because they often cover, especially when I'm not able to sit down and just look at cards or think about what set is coming up. They will cover, upcoming releases of new deck lists, new products that are coming out and stuff. And they also do really good. They do a really good take on a lot of products. So listen to them as well. The Command Zone. CMDR Central, or Commander Central. So CMDR Central does set reviews, but they also do something called Decks You Play. These episodes, the Decks You Play episodes, discuss people's own decks. They will offer them to the show, who will then sort of break them down, compartmentalize what cards are trying to do what the commander attempts to achieve, how people want to play them, and then they recommend what things you could do if you were on a budget, or what cards to include if you want to upgrade it in power level or performance. They've got a really good analysis of that as well. But they, like some of the other podcasts I listen to a lot of them that basically just cover content and products that are upcoming. Another really good show, CMDR Central. Next, and this one is probably one of the most light-hearted one. This is the Commander Sphere. The two hosts for the Commander Sphere are, I think one of them is a comedian, and one of them is actually on the Commander Advisory Group now, although she didn't start off as such. They have a very informal, wacky, off-the-wall take on what cards do. They will cover new products as they come out, new cards as they come out. They will cover cards from the newest releases. They will discuss what they might be good in, and what they are looking forward to being able to do with them. It's like a chat. Just like with Casual Magic, they will chat openly, informally, and in a friendly manner between themselves. They don't really bring anybody else in, as far as I'm aware. I have listened to a lot of their content as well. But they will just chat about cards. They also do this very entertaining thing where they will just break down what colours represent, and they will do like a categories thing with it. So it will be like what white red is in real life, and it'll be like they're like the military police as they turn up and like they put the crack down on it, but ultimately, as long as you're a law-abiding citizen, they'll leave you. I don't know, I can't really do it as good as them, especially not because I'm not a comedian, but they do a really good show. Really, really funny and really entertaining at times. Like, genuinely, I will be driving to work. My journey to work is about half an hour at the moment. And I will, and it will be like 6:15 in the morning on the way to work, and I will just be laughing out loud in the car. I'm by myself, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, I love their show. Really, really highly recommended. The Commander Sphere. I recommend all of these, to be fair. Hence the idea of this entire episode. But yeah, they're really good. Lastly, but by no means least, probably the biggest of all of these is MTG Goldfish. Don't take much from the name. Goldfishing, as far as I'm aware, was a way you can test how your deck performs in a very simplistic manner. You basically sit there with your deck and you draw a hand of cards and you play them and you see how it performs over a number of turns, and you aim to achieve a certain performance level with it. That's not really important. MTG Goldfish, they have a crew of presenters, and they have changed who is presenting on the show over time. A couple of times people have had to step back from their for new commitments within themselves and brought in other people. But they are, from what I can discern, as presenters, they are friends. They play together regularly. They do online streaming of their actual games. They will do themes with their games where the idea is to build a deck on a certain under certain restrictions. And I actually am a firm believer that when you're building decks, when you're building your commander deck, you should introduce your own restrictions in what you're doing, because that level of extra restriction allows for greater innovation. The idea of their podcast is, again, they will cover the latest products as they come out. They will chat about what they do, what they don't, what they like, what they don't like. And they do it in a way where they'll be like, the presenter will be like, hey, can you tell us about this card? What did you think about this? How did this go down? How was this received by the community? They have several shows, and each of them covers slightly different aspects of the game. Typically, they cover the Commander format. Again, unsurprisingly, the most popular format in Magic the Gathering is Commander, and that's where they get most of my views from, and probably a lot of other people's as well. Their content and entire level of budgeting means that they put out a very professional show. The episode lengths can be like 45 minutes to almost 2 hours sometimes, and it's great. It goes really in depth. They will cover a multitude of cards. They have their own tier list for how good a card is, from S tier, which is like cards that you jam in every single commander deck you can because they're the best at what they do, and you want that on your deck, on your table, doing its thing. A, which is really, really strong. You should definitely consider this for most of your decks. B, which is, it's good, but it's good in only certain types of decks. You don't want it in every deck because it doesn't always work. C, which is, yeah, it'll do. It's fine. It's a filler card. It'll do the job, but you might want to replace this with something better if you're looking to optimize your deck in future. And D, which is, this is trash. Get rid of this as fast as possible because it is not doing what you need it to do, and it is not worth putting in your deck. They have a lot of episodes, a lot of content, and they do episodes every week, every single week. That about covers it, really. Like I said, I listen to all of these that I've recommended. I'm going to put their logo up somewhere, Lord of the Rings map, because I'm a nerd, obviously. I love this. I got this from one of my friends, actually. He's also a Magic player, coincidentally. Shout out to you, Ivan. But this was framed and put in my room. Completely separate to Magic the Gathering, but a beautiful foil masterpiece map. Oh, that would be so cool. I want to see if I can get other maps, but like Magic the Gathering ones. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I get all of these podcasts on Spotify. I'm not sponsored by Spotify. They're just a really good resource for catching up with podcasts and stuff. Those of you who actually want to delve a bit deeper, or learn more about how Magic is played, all of those things, hopefully this will have provided you with something that is worth taking away and listening to. Thank you very much. Take care, everybody.